All of those are free to the public. Education is at the heart of what we do here. We serve middle school all the way to people over 90 in our free photography classes. We also hold, actually some of our students are here, if you can wave. They're in our high school program, some of them are graduating now. We also have a BBC Films Fellowship program, and we also work in senior centers to provide photography, and all of this is free. The exhibition was curated by Cynthia Rivera and Mike Camber. Mike, unfortunately, he is here. He's across the street, but he's not feeling well, so he sends his regrets for missing this evening's happenings. And Cynthia has to take care of her child, unfortunately, who also is feeling unwell. The exhibition installation would not be possible without the help of our dedicated staff and volunteers. So we want to thank you all. If you can also just do a little wave for everybody. Thank you so much. I also want to acknowledge our long-term supporters, Ford Foundation and the Pinkerton Foundation, who are also here today. And our board of directors who are also present here. Joe and Henry are here. Joe Conzo and Henry Shaw. So before we continue, I'd like to call on Alexa. Alexa is an alumna of our Youth Photo League program. She will just do a little spiel in terms of her experience in the program.
Hi. Okay, my name's Alexa Pacheco, and I've been at the BDC as a student since I was like 12, pretty young. So I started in middle school, and I kind of want to say I grew up here. Like, I'm in college now. I'm a freshman in college, and I'm studying at FIT? Oh, there we go. I'm studying at the Fashion Institute of Technology. Any alumni? Woo. Okay, anyways. Yeah, and the BDC held my hand through the entire college process. Even when I was in middle school, they helped me apply to high school. So, I mean, this is my family. I really love it here. Now I teach here, which is really cool. I'm a TA for the middle school, so it's cool to teach the same class that I was taking. Is the mic? Can you hear me? Okay. So it's honestly such a enriching experience to get to pass on the knowledge that I gained while I was here, and to teach a new generation of people and a new generation of photographers. And I'm just very happy that I'm able to tell my community's story and many people's stories through my art, which I'm now doing in college. And yeah, so thank you. Thank you to Den, thank you to all my teachers in the crowd, Ricardo, Pam. And then I was also able to, with Pam and Ricardo and Caesar, another fellow student who's still in high school, we were able to go to Japan for the Higashikawa Youth Photo Festival, and a team went last year as well, and we're aiming for this year too. So I don't know, I got to be able to travel and do some really cool experiences, and all because of a small little nonprofit that I love so very dearly. So thank you so much.
At the Bronx Documentary Center, we're proud to continue providing a platform for photographers like Jamel Shabazz to tell powerful stories of identity, resilience, and community. Over our nearly 15-year history, the BDC has continued to showcase documentary photographers and filmmakers who reflect the complexities of our world and who speak truth to power. We have remained an essential cultural and educational hub for our Bronx community and for national and international audiences. However, this work is only possible with the support of individuals like you. If you're inspired of what you see tonight, we invite you to consider making a contribution or volunteering your time in some way. Your generosity will help us keep providing all of our audiences and all of those who we serve, including you, with vital opportunities to see work of amazing artists and to provide our community with transformational education programs for years to come. Thank you for being part of our mission. And now I hand it to Jamel.
Okay.
This is the 50th anniversary of his project, and I'll hand the mic to you.
Thank you.
Yep.
All right, thank you so much. Come on, give her a round of applause. Wow. I'm truly honored to be in your presence today. This is it's something where I look at the camera as a compass. And I picked up this compass 50 years ago as a young 15-year-old kid trying to navigate through life. And I never would imagine that my camera, my compass, would bring me to where I'm at right now. You know, I saw the beauty in photography, and I just wanted to be a part of contributing to the preservation of history and culture. I'm a child of the 1960s, so I grew up during a very troubling time in American history. I grew up in a time in which presidents were being assassinated, elected officials, Martin Luther King, there was a war going on in Vietnam. As a young child, I grew up looking at magazines, Time, Life magazine, and I'm looking at these images of war and suffering. And no one is explaining this to me. Despite the fact that I had a father in the house and these were his publications, I took it upon myself to look at them. And it's through these magazines and photography books that I started to develop a greater understanding of the world. And I'm about 9 years old at this time. I'm watching what's unfolding on television and war and suffering. I had went to Catholic school and I was raised under the idea, thou shalt not kill, but yet all this killing is going on. So it was something about photography that really helped me to better understand what was going on around me. So as a young child, about 9, 10, 11 years old, I would go to the library and I would get stacks of Life magazine. For many of us, Life magazine is the equivalent to what the internet is today. Because through that magazine, you got an understanding of what was going on in the world in real time, both locally and nationally. So I would get stacks of Life magazine, stacks of National Geographic, stacks of Newsweek, and I would study them at a young age. So at this early stage in my development, before I physically picked up the camera, I had developed an appreciation for imagery. And fast forward, now at 15 years old, what's so interesting, when I really got inspired, because my father was a photographer, he was a photographer in the Navy, he had traveled the world. I had an uncle who lived downstairs from me who was a photographer, and one of the things that he did, he used to photograph the family and do slideshows. And that was a big thing on the holidays, and we would see photographs of our family. And another thing that's very important, both for me but for everybody here, is the tradition of the family photo album. And in many cases, they were passed on from generation to generation. So as I'm looking at photographs about what's happening in the world, I'm also looking at the photo albums on my coffee table of my family that went back into the late 1800s. And it's through those photo albums I saw the importance of family and tradition. And the idea back then was when someone died, the oldest person in the family would get the photo album to keep that tradition alive and would be passed on from generation to generation. Today, a lot of that is being lost through social media, or should I say through cell phones. Now we have JPEGs, and a lot of folks don't understand the importance of those albums. When I came up, what was very personal for me was to sit down with my father and let him explain the people in the photographs, who were no longer here. So now that oral history was passed on. So I say to everybody here, let's keep that tradition alive. You know what I mean? If you don't have your own album, you got aunts and uncles and family members, snapshot their pictures, get copies, and create your own personal family photo albums to hold on to that legacy. It's so vital, and it's being lost now. With people falling victim to homelessness and despair, a lot of work is being lost in storage. I've met so many people that can't afford the storage bill, and that their albums are being lost forever. So we have to preserve our history and culture. So let me fast forward to when I start to really pick up the camera and do the work that I'm best known for, which is that pretty much work from the 1980s. Again, I grew up in the 1960s. When I became 15 years old, I had a friend of mine that told me that his cousin was one of the warlords of one of the biggest gangs in Brooklyn. And that gang was called the Jolly Stompers. Matter of fact, it was a division of the Jolly Stompers called the Badass Stompers. They were a very renowned gang in Brooklyn, in Crown Heights, and in East Flatbush. And he told me that I want you to come to my cousin's house and look at some of his photography, because he has some incredible pictures. So I remember going there one day, And he had these photo albums like Yellow Pages. You young people don't know what Yellow Pages are, you know what I mean? You don't know. But all the OGs in the house remember the big, thick Yellow Pages, the photo albums. So he had these photo albums of this game. And unlike the traditional gangs that we see pretty much in the Bronx, cut-off jackets, the Jolly Stompers were very dapper gang members. They were just very fresh. Playboys, fresh haircuts, Kangos, velour hats, they were fly. When I looked at his photographs, I was blown away because these guys were older than me, but they were dressed well, they were posed, they were upright, they wasn't throwing gang signs and none of that, they were just clean. But what I got out of that experience was photographing people within my community in a similar fashion. In looking at the Life magazine and National Geographic, I saw images, but they did not represent my community. But I looked at these photographs from the gang, not to say that the gang members represented people in my community, but they were young people. And through that experience, I decided at that point that I wanted to be a photographer, and I'm gonna go and I'm gonna photograph my community. So I snatched up my mother's Kodak Instamatic point shoot camera, and I went on to start photographing my peers in junior high school. And it's like when I look through the viewfinder, it's like my third eye opened. I was able to look at life from a whole different perspective, and I was able to appreciate life and beauty, and looking at things I would normally overlook. So from that stage to now, I've been photographing. 2 years after that, I went into the military. You know, due to hardships and the conditions in Brooklyn back in the days, a lot of my friends decided that we had to get away, and we decided that the best route for us would be the military. So at the age of 16, I decided that it was time for me to leave Brooklyn and get away. So on my 17th birthday, I was able to have my mother sign me in, and I went in the military. I ended up going to Germany for a few years. And what was unique about that experience, which helped to develop my ideas for photography, when I would be out in the field on cold, miserable nights with my M16, I would think about New York. And I would visualize the subways and the people and the buses and the streets. And I promised myself that I would never be without memory. So when I got out of the Army in 1980, I came home with a new Canon 81 camera, and I returned back to my Brooklyn, and I came back with a desire to document my entire community. Unbeknownst to me at the time, I came home to a war. So here I leave one situation overseas, and now I'm coming back to Brooklyn, and something happened during the time in which I was gone. A lot of my friends' little brothers got murdered by other guys who I knew. So it was all this violence that was going on. So now I got the camera, and I realized that the camera is now giving me, it's my compass. And it would take me to different high schools. And I used that opportunity to speak to people and reconnect with my community because I wanted to know what was going on. Marvin Gaye has a song called What's Happening, Brother? And that song really represents what my spirit was when I came home. I wanted to know what was going on, what was happening. All this death and destruction. And that's when I realized that as a photographer, I could connect with people. And to my surprise, I'm photographing guys that are enemies to each other. I'm just recently finding out just how bad things were when my books came out to know that this guy on page 50 shot the guy on page 52. You know what I mean? And all these people were young, but they were killing each other. So for me, the camera gave me an opportunity to engage young people. It just wasn't about photography. It was about engaging and trying to find out what's going on and even acting as a big brother and trying to give people guidance and direction. Two of the greatest things that I got out of the military was really my photography got better, but I learned how to play chess. So back in the days, I would roll with my camera and my chessboard, and I would teach a lot of young brothers chess as a form of conflict resolution and warfare, to understand you have to learn how to think and strategize and make the right moves. You know, so I'm coming home, the AIDS epidemic is hitting now, and then fast forward, then the crack epidemic hit. My first job I got, one of the very first jobs I got was working at a men's shelter on Ward's Island. And in working there, I realized just how bad things were. So for me, the camera gave me a voice and it was my compass, but I had to be proactive and use my voice and my position to be a light and engage people and try to save people. And right after working on Ward's Island, you know, I'm home from the military. I took a lot of city examinations. I was called to be a correctional officer on Rikers Island. And I looked at it as a very important assignment that I had to embark on because a few of my friends had just came home from jail for a crime they didn't commit. So they helped debrief me about the fact that there's a lot of innocent people in jail, in addition to some bad people in jail. So I welcomed my assignment as a correctional officer. So at the age of 23, I was assigned to Rikers Island, and that was my new destination. And one of the gifts that my father taught me was carry your camera everywhere you went. So when I was called for the job, I brought my camera. When I was in the academy, I had my camera. In the range, my camera. When I went into the jail, I had my camera, and I documented my whole experience. But what was most important for me was to engage young people. And it's one of the most difficult jobs of my entire life. But I went in there because I'm in an environment with young people, 16 to 21 years old, pretty much black and brown young men who needed some type of help and guidance. Pretty much the guys I was trying to save on the street that ended up on Rikers Island. But I used my position to be a light. I would bring in my photo albums and show them hope and promise. Because I was just telling the students, there's a photograph around the corner of a young man on a bunk with a book. And he's 16 years old in that picture. He just came home not too long ago after doing 30 years. And a lot of the guys I had in front of me were doing heavy time. So I decided to use my position as an officer to guide people. And to balance out all the negativity, because working on Rikers back then, C-74, a lot of guys were being slashed, they were being stabbed. Some couldn't take it, they were trying to hang up. And it was very difficult to work under those circumstances. So I would bring in literature and try to guide a lot of young men. Fortunately, I worked in a steady housing area where I was able to spend time every day with the same group of people, and I would photograph them. And then what I would do when I would leave Rikers Island, I would go into the streets and I would look for love and joy to balance out all the hate and violence I was dealing with. And then I would capture that and bring it back into the jail to show people hope and promise. So that's just a little bit of my history. You know, my social media feed is a reflection of my heart. I'm a concerned photographer. I'm really pained with everything that's going on in the world today. And I'm happy to be in a position now beyond anything I could have imagined, because what brought us together now is this universal language of photography. That's the beauty of it right now. It brought us all together. And we need to be together as a society more now than ever before. In many cases, some of us don't speak the same language, but through photography, we have come together for a reason. And it's incumbent upon us, visionaries, photographers, really the art community. Because to me personally, politicians and religious leaders have failed to a great degree. I firmly believe that it's the art community that could bring about change in society right now. Whether you be a poet, a painter, a photographer, we need all hands on deck to make this world a better place right now. We really do. And Gordon Parks referred to the camera as a choice of weapons, but the paintbrushes, the pen is, and we need everybody, to take on issues that are close to your heart. Whatever bothers you, if there's something that bothers you, I've met a young woman that talked about document autism. Another young lady talked about people with their pets. We need all hands on deck right now because we're living in some very dangerous times. One of the things I've been able to do as a photographer that really surprised me, I've been able to travel all over the world with my images. So a lot of the photographs you see here, I've taken them to Korea, to Japan, to Belgium, to France, and I've shared them, that language. And I'm showing them another side, because images could be negative too, and they can produce negative thoughts. So I'm trying to produce images that show joy and love and hope, to break down a lot of the negative stereotypes, because what's happening now due to social media, a lot of negativity is being uploaded, and those negative images are being shown around the world. So we have to create counter narratives to that, and we all have the ability to do that right now, because the time is very serious. So for me to be here is really special, because what's unique about my experience too is that one of the directors, Mike Canvas, who's not feeling well, to my shock, he wrote me when he was in Iraq. He was working for the New York Times. He was a bureau chief in Iraq. And this guy emailed me from Iraq. And he talked about his appreciation for my work. And I'm shocked, because here I have this guy who's a war photographer, but he took time out of his busy schedule to reach out to me to acknowledge my work. And he spoke about, he felt that what I was doing was important. And now I'm here. And this center is an oasis in the Bronx. I was researching it early, and I'm blown away with what they're doing. They're teaching both the young, the old. When COVID hit, Mike and his team went into the projects, and they wanted to check on the elderly to make sure they was all right. I mean, this is an oasis, and we need to have more of these in cities all over. And what's interesting about this government today, they want to take this away. They want to take these type of programs away, because they feel that it's diversity. We need diversity, and we need unity like never before. You know what I mean? So I need you guys to help support this. Those who don't know, let's support these institutions, because we need this. And Mike and his team are doing a very important work that needs to be done
more now than ever before. All my life, all I've known is hatred and war. It's endless, all my life. So imagine, I'm 64 years old, and my entire life, the images that stay in the forefront of my mind is war and suffering and hate. And there's never been any change. There's never been a moment, other than what I document, but it's constant. So again, we need all hands on deck right now. And it's more important now than ever before that each one has to teach one. We have to love one another and use our gifts, because all of us got gifts. And how can we use it? We have to question ourselves and say, what can I do to make this world a better place? Sometimes we got to start with our family. And I know that's not easy sometimes, because a lot of families are fractured. But we need everybody to come together. And this is a sign right here. If I never do anything again, I could look back and say that my show brought everybody together in the spirit of love and unity. And do take time to greet the neighbors and know who you have around you, because there's a lot of great people here. And I got to ask this question because it's important to me, so I could greet you guys separately in a very unique way. How many of my people here, you know me from Instagram? Raise your hand, my Instagram people. All right, there we go. That's a special place for me. I appreciate you guys here, because Instagram has given me a wonderful platform to get what's in my heart out. You know, those who follow me, you see what I post. I post about pollution, global warming, hatred, politics, love, unity, the whole nine. I'm grateful to have such a place where I can get out what's inside, because if not, I would have been stressed out. But I'm not going to be too long. I've said more than enough, but I appreciate all of you guys. I'll take anybody on a personal tour and break it down, because every single photograph has a story behind it. And I'm here for you guys. So whatever it is that you may want to know, you have any questions, even now, if you have any questions, I'm willing to take on any questions that you have and break it all down. I didn't mean to be so long-winded, but when you've been doing this for 50 years, you can't be too short. Stand in front of me, and I ain't gonna take a picture, so I need to take a picture of everybody right here. So I need everybody to back up, and we're gonna make this thing happen. We need to record some history right here. I know it's gonna be tight and kind of difficult.
Come here, and we take a photo from here. Everyone from the back.
I like this right here.
Or like this.
It's hard, because y'all tighten up a little bit. It's a hard picture, but y'all got to tighten up just a little bit. This is for the history books right here. Let me show you how to do this. See, this is history right here. This is history. All right. It ain't an easy shot, but I'm gonna make it happen. I'm gonna take it in section. Look at how beautiful y'all look. Come on now, where the young ones at? The young ones gotta crouch down. Where the young ones at? Yeah, there you go. Crouch down to show it. There you go. Come on, young ones, y'all crouch down. Look how great y'all look.
Y'all might not be able to get up.
All right. This is what unity looks like. That's what I'm talking about. And it just shows you the power of photography that it brought us together. Not only the images, but these exhibitions bring all these brilliant minds together. So here we go, y'all. Showtime. Act like y'all know each other. Come on, show some love. You guys act like you just met. Get this group right here. Everybody over here. Hold on 1 second. Don't go nowhere. We could get some video footage here. And then we'll be back. All right, here we go. Showtime, y'all. Look at all the faces. Look, y'all look so beautiful. Look at all the energy up in here. Yeah. If everybody just pulls out $1, man, we could pay the rent here. Yeah. I need some dollars up in here to put in that jar. But I mean, look at this here. This is what love and unity. Don't we need this today? Yes. We really need this right now. But all right, who got questions here? I'm here now. I'm fired up. Who got something to say? Any questions? All right, here we go.
I have one question. During your photography career from beginning to now, what was the most challenging thing and how did you overcome it?
The most challenging thing for me, brother, was working in the Department of Corrections for 20 years. That was the most challenging assignment I had in my entire life. And the way I overcame it, which is a good question, was my photography. That's what made me help it. Photography was my therapy. So by leaving Rikers Island and leaving that area, going out in the shoot, documenting people, that gave me hope. So it was the photography. A good question. All right, y'all. Questions? Come on up here. Come on, girl. Take the mic. And what's your name?
I'm sorry, I didn't know we had to come to the front.
Oh, you working with me, you gotta come up in front. Come on, girl, I can't take the
by myself. Here we go. Holler at me.
Yeah, take my picture.
All right, take my picture too. All right.
So my name is Lolly. My question is, when did photography go from being a
Hey guys.
hobby to being
Hey guys. We got a question in the front. Thank you, brother. Yeah, yes. All right. The young lady asked me about photography going from hobby to profession. And that's a great question. I always freelanced all my life, and I wasn't getting any jobs. I wasn't getting anything. I just did it for me. It was a visual diary. But one day I started looking at the Source magazine and Vibe magazine and all these urban magazines in the 1990s, and I realized that my work has the ability to be in those magazines. So one day I got my portfolio together, and I took my work to the Source magazine. Before I could get into the elevator, a young guy approached me and said, "What you got there?" And I showed him my portfolio, Eric Russ. And he saw my portfolio, he says, "This is exactly what we were looking for our 100th issue." He took my pictures and they ended up giving me like a 20-page spread in the Source magazine in 1999 that changed my whole career. Those images would be the foundation for my book back in the days. And with the success of that, the magazine sold out in New York. That's when I knew I had something. And then shortly afterwards, I went to a publisher that did good books, and I showed them my book in 2000, and they told me, "Your book, we're gonna do your book and be out next year." And in 2001, my book Back in the Days dropped, and it sold out. The first edition sold out in 2 months. The second edition sold out in 2 weeks. Now that one basic book that I took apart photos out of a photo album is now in this 12th edition. One book changed my whole entire life. So it's at that point where I published my first book that I knew that I could do this. But good question. Thank you so much. Any, come on up here, young lady.
Oh, God.
And while you guys are waiting, you might want to get something to eat and drink and come back, because I ain't going nowhere. I'm ready to answer all your questions. Man, it's so good to see all of y'all up in here. Are y'all in the right place for the right person?
Yes.
I can't believe all y'all in here. Man, y'all are so beautiful. Come on, talk to me, young lady.
Do you have any advice for young photographers or those that want to start photography?
The main advice I can tell you is carry your camera everywhere you go. Even now, look at all these people up in here. This is a photo shoot. This is perfect to say, you know what? You got your camera, take them outside and get some shots. Carry your camera everywhere you go. Have it out, have it ready, have things in mind, and study the grades. That's the key. But this is the key. Carry your camera everywhere you go. And this is great. You got all these people. Look at that. We got movie stars up in here. Look at these famous people up in here. All right. All right. That's what you do, young lady. Get your camera everywhere. Where's your camera at? All right. See that guy right there? He's famous. Get some pictures. You gotta work with movie. Get everybody. If you see somebody fly, that man over there. See that guy over there? That's Nino Brown. You know Nino Brown? Don't get his picture. See, get pictures. You know nobody. You can use your background right here and just snap it up. You never know. You have to seize every opportunity that's available to you. So this is a great opportunity. This guy's famous right here. You know this guy? All these famous people. But you never know who's everybody's somebody special. She's famous. Get her picture. Come on, girl, give me some love. All right.
I came all the way from Philly.
From Philly. Look at that. All the way from Philly. That's what I'm talking about. Thank you so much. So good to see you. But good question. All right. Any other questions? Come on, young lady, holler at me.
Hi, Mr. Jamel.
All right, how you feeling? I'm good.
So, the last time I asked you a question was at the Bronx Museum.
Wow, all right, we go way back.
Yes, so I think that was like 2 years ago. The question I asked you was about what you would not photograph, and it kind of brought me to tears at the moment, but this time I want to ask you a question on the opposite end, which is like, what is your favorite thing to photograph, or favorite subject, or favorite concept
Good question.
to photograph?
My favorite subject is children. Those are my favorite photographs. That photo, all the pictures of the children, those are some of my favorite photographs. I love the innocence of children. So good question, girl. And you gotta stay in context. You gotta keep your work. Oh, you got it. All right, good. All right, there you go. All right. I got you. All right, cool. All right, here we go. Yo, let's eat. Let's celebrate, y'all. All right.
What's going on, buddy?
Wait,
We are not live, but we are recording.
Okay. Well,
I'm just gonna say what's up, Shady Ron. I'm not gonna go through anything political today. Just saying what's up. That's all I'm gonna say today. Last week was the political stuff, and I saw it all week on Ron's show. I don't know what's going on in this world. The tariffs got us messed up.
Yes, yes, yes.